Well, hello and welcome. I'm Cindy Daychuk with Queen Bee Creations, and thank you for dropping by the channel. Today's project is kind of inspired out of, I don't want to say necessity, but inspired out of items that I have here in the shop to use up. As you can imagine, I end up collecting all kinds of different wood pieces, and I collect all kinds of different metal and tin pieces, and sometimes you're gonna be using these babies up. So what I do have is we're kind of starting with some spindles and bedposts, chair parts. I mean, this is part of a chair. It was a leg of a chair. You can see the hole where the chair rail went along. So when the chair is in complete disrepair, I strip it for parts. So I will keep the rungs, I will keep the chair legs, I will keep a lot of the pieces from the backing. Sometimes the seat is too split to be repaired. So, I even keep the pieces of the broken seat because I could use them for something else. So I hate seeing anything going to the landfill. So if I can use it for something else, I do. So what I did do was I took this chair leg, and I cut it down into two parts. I cut off this little narrow part that went into the glue, and these legs always have a slight angle to them, so I straightened that out. And I cut two pieces, one here and, oops, one this way. Okay, so there are my two pieces. And then I just kind of sanded them flat. I am going to, okay, so that's that piece used up. And I am going to have to get my wood glue, my wood filler, and fill in that hole, okay? I'm gonna need that to dry. The other piece that I have is from a bed rail. So this was an old crib that I as well took apart, and this piece is from the middle. It's from right in there. So I still have this piece and this piece to be able to use for other projects as well, but I'm going to use this one because I needed three pieces because I'm going to create a tiered tray. What I do have are three old enamel dishes. They look sort of like pie plates, but they're chipped, but they are still gorgeous. So what we're going to do is we are going to build a really high tiered tray. So a nice tall one. The third piece is going to come up here, and it's going to be awesome. Now there's a couple of little tricks along the way that I want to share with you that's going to make the difference between nice and easy and a major headache. The other thing that you can do is if you get wood rolling pins, old wood rolling pins that are solid, and there's a lot of old ones that you can get, sometimes even just regular rolling pins, and you can get these from your thrift stores. If they have the metal piece that runs through that attaches on because the handles move, then just remove that. You can then slice the actual rolling pin down into being the spacers between, and then you can glue and attach the handle back onto an edge and have that be part of it. For something like this big, you're probably going to need two rolling pins to be able to complete it, but rolling pin going up the center is also super cute. So you don't have to use these spindles. You could use like a cut down rolling pin. You could use candlesticks, wooden candlesticks. I'm going to show you the method of how to be able to attach the wood. If you're using something other than that, this method may or may not work depending on how you can drill into it. But this is going to create a really solid, really sturdy tiered tray that you can load up with stuff. And so I really love that. Now this end, I will say, it was cut off square, and I just took my electric sander, my mouse sander, and I just kind of sand it around on an angle to just kind of round it out, because this is going to be my top, and if it was flat, it wouldn't look very finished. But if you had the flat top and you had like a finial that you could screw down into it to add a little bit of, you know, zing and bling, then go ahead and do that. Or maybe like a little drawer knob or something like that that kind of finishes it off too. So I just kind of rounded it out, because the first step in this project is I am going to fill this, let it dry, and then I'm going to paint all 3 of these pieces white. And for this, I am just going to be using my standby, which is Debbie's Design Diary DIY white paint in beadboard. So I'm going to give them at least 2 coats, possibly a 3rd coat, and just do a little light distressing around those edges. We have all of our wooden pieces all painted up and ready to go. The only thing that I like to do is just sand them lightly. So I'm not really looking to distress these, but I like to just kind of knock off a little bit of the paintbrush marks. It just smooths it out, gives it a slightly better finish. Just a little bit of distressing just around the areas that we can. All right. And all that we're looking at doing is getting a little bit of wax on these. I don't need them to cure up before we move on in the project, because we're just mostly going to be drilling and assembling. So all I'm going to do is take a little bit of the DIY clear wax. I'm kind of getting down to the end of my bucket there. And I'm just going to apply it on. And you could use the wax of your choice, or you could use a polyacrylic to be able to seal this, whatever you would prefer. But they're not going to be a high use item, because this is a decor piece. It's not like, you know, you could use it as a serving tray, but again, it's not going to be getting manhandled, and you're going to be able to just wipe it down. And one more, and then we're ready to just pretty much assemble. So I'm going to show you a couple of little tricks about this that makes putting together these tiered trays a lot easier than people might imagine. So the first thing that you want to do is to drill holes. So we are going to drill holes. Now this is our top, so we're only going to drill a hole into the bottom. Our other 2 pieces, we are going to drill top and bottom, okay? Because it's going to help get our screws to go in a lot easier if we've kind of pre-drilled them a little bit. So the only thing that you want to do is just kind of start out by checking the size of your drill bit. And that's why I've got a bunch of holes in this little block over here, is that I've been checking the size of the drill bit to make sure that I've got the right size for the size of screw. So I'm going to get my holes drilled and then come back at you, and I have to stand up to do this. So I have my pre-drilled holes in each of my pieces here. And as you saw from the video, I pre-drilled the holes in the center of my pie plates. Now this is dead easy to do. I had just marked the back of each of them with where the halfway point is so that I knew roughly where to do that. And instead of using a wood drill bit, use a metal drill bit, in which case it's no different than doing the other. What we did do though was put this block underneath the pie plate so that when we're drilling down, we would go into the wood block, and then one, we know that we're through, and two, we don't drill a hole into the table. Okay, once we've got our pieces drilled, we can start to assemble. Now, I like to drop a little bit of wood glue down in there just to be able to hold it firmly. And there's nothing wrong with putting a little bit of wood glue where the metal plate's going to go either. We've got the screws in there, but I have nothing against extra support. Let's get that down. And we're going to start putting our base screw in. Whoops. It's like a pair of cymbals. So for the base, I am just using a flat-headed wood screw, and fairly long because I want it to be somewhat stable, but I want the flat head versus like that round topped head, that domed head, just so that it sits flat on my tray. Go. Nice and stable. And so you can see that because my plate just kind of bows up a little bit in the middle, that's going to sit nicely there. Now, for these next ones, we can't use that same kind of screw, because if I screw this plate down with a regular screw, I'm not going to have a way of attaching the next level, right? So if I was just doing sawdust, if I was just doing a two-tiered tray, that would be, and no, finial or top to it, that would be okay. It would just look like this then. But if I want to have something on this, either the finished piece or another tier, I need to use these screws. And they are double-ended, so pointy end, and they just have this little neutral territory in the kind of in the middle. And all that we're going to do, so I'm going to drop a little touch of my wood glue down in there as I go to screw this in, and I'm just taking some pliers, and easiest just to turn the bottom, and I'm just going to screw it down in until I reach that midway point. And this is why we made sure that we pre-drilled here. Okay, awesome. Now let's put a little bit of our wood glue around here. Put our second tray on. That slides right on. A little bit of wood glue up in our next tier and along the base. And we're going to stick that right on and screw it down in. So easy, right? Oh my God, the discovery that those things existed was just an amazing moment in my life. It's just, you wouldn't believe some of the things that I was doing beforehand. So now I'm just turning my whole tray to be able to get this one down in. Okay, and clean up a little bit of the glue around there. And then there we have it. We have this beautiful 3-tier tray with our enamel pie plates, and we're going to be able to decorate that up with a lot of our items that we're busy making for the holiday season. So I'm going to let that dry. I'm going to get it set up. I'm going to take some pics, but keep this in mind for, you know, when you're looking at, when you find like different sized pie plates, or you've got wood discs, or you have, you know, just even square metal baking pans look super cute. You just paint those out and do like 2 tiers of them, and you can do a little finial top from maybe like an old lamp would be cute as a very top piece, and just maybe a candlestick in between. I mean, there's so many options, but those double-ended screws are a lifesaver. So I will put a link from my finding them on Amazon, so you don't have to search for them, but I'm sure your local hardware store would have them as well. I can't imagine that they are not common. It just wasn't common knowledge to me. So give this a go. Definitely, I want to hear some of your thoughts, some of your comments, and see any pics if you give this a try, or if you already have some tiered trays. Send pics along, give everybody else some inspiration too. And until next time, Cindy Daychuk, Queen Bee Creations, take care.